Good evening. Welcome to the Zinda Broadcast Network. This is Justin Zinda. Today we are having Mr. Richard Semitego, who is the chairman of Uganda Federal Front. As you know, in Uganda there are presidential elections 2016. The actual elections will take place this Thursday, the 18th of February 2016. Mr. Museveni, the incumbent president, is still standing. Mr. Semitego, welcome again.
Thank you very much for hosting me again.
I remember in 2011 we had an interview in this very studio concerning the then presidential elections. What is different this time round?
As you know, Ugandans are dealing with the longest serving dictator in Africa. President Yoweri Museveni came to power in 1986. And in his own words, he said, the problem of Africa in general, and Uganda in particular, is not the people, the leaders who want to overstay in power. President Museveni prophesied about himself. 30 years down the line, he's still in power. He's ruling Uganda with an iron fist. Ugandans are being brutally terrorized. Corruption is at highest level, mushrooming right from State House to all government departments, hospitals, schools, roads, they are all in sorry state.
We had gone through all those issues last time round in 2011. What is different this time round? Do you think Museveni will still win the election, or we are going to have another president on the 18th?
From the last 4 elections we had, when President Museveni is in power, he never won any single election. And that was proved in High Court when Kizza Besigye took the case to High Court and the judge agreed with him that the elections were rigged.
Are we talking about the election in 2011?
From 2001, 2006 and 2011, all elections were rigged in Uganda. And that's why Ugandans are protesting until today. We are going into elections on Thursday, 18th, 2016, but that is state managed. However, I'm encouraging all Ugandans to go and vote, because if you don't vote, you have no voice. You have to go and vote and show that you are willing to change. If we don't have change in Uganda, Uganda is doomed. The former president of Tanzania, Julius Nyerere, once said, we have no time to waste. We either act now or we perish. Time is now.
I understand that Uganda is in serious need of change of leadership. What happened, I think, a couple of days ago, we heard that one of the candidates, Mr. Kizza Besigye, was arrested. We had that scenario last time around in 2011. Why is he still getting arrested anytime they're having presidential elections?
Like I said, it's not about only Kizza Besigye, but all opposition leaders in Uganda. They are under captivity. They are not free to go and campaign. They are mishandled, they are brutally arrested, some of them they are killed. My family is a victim of President Museveni's brutality in Uganda. Even yesterday, a very young man in his 20s was out campaigning on presidential candidate Kizza Besigye's trail, and he was shot dead. Another woman was also shot dead.
Yeah. Are we saying that nothing has changed since 2011 in terms of the way Museveni has been leading the country for almost 30 years now?
Not almost, 30 years, and there was no sign of him leaving power. Things have gone from bad to worse. Oh. If we don't get change this time, Uganda is doomed.
What do you think will happen? Do you think that this time the election will not be rigged, or Museveni will do the same thing?
Like I said, Museveni has never genuinely won any single election in Uganda, but he's always rigging. And this time around, people should go there to show the world that Ugandans are willing to have change, peaceful change. But if this time Museveni rig the vote, things are going to be bad. For example, Uganda is the country with the youngest population in the world at the rate of 77%. That is the age between 15 to 24. Youth unemployment is at 83%.
We know about all those statistics in terms of the bad political leadership in Uganda. We know about all these difficulties about the oppression on political activists and so on. What we have to understand now, what is going to happen if Museveni were to do the very same thing as in 2011? Is there any plan B this time around?
Thank you very much. Like I said, youth unemployment is at 83%.
83%.
83%.
Yes.
And when a country is at that level, that young people, they have no jobs, that is a time bomb. That's why I said, if Museveni stays in power this time around, like you asked, Ugandans are looking for Plan B.
What is that Plan B? That's my question. What is Plan B? Because we had the same discussion in 2011, where people, I think, took some steps to have what we call walk to work. Yeah. And that has not changed a thing. Museveni has survived his mandate, he has completed his mandate, and is still there. What is your Plan B?
When you are dealing with a dictator, you have to have a thick skin. And this time round, walk to work may go ahead, but even within Uganda, its own military forces, its own police, they also had enough. So people are going to combine efforts to push him in any way they can afford.
Is there anything you want to tell the voters for the election on Thursday?
For voters, more especially young people, go out in big numbers. Go and vote. Because if you don't vote, you don't have a voice. Go and vote. Be vigilant. Make sure that people don't vote more than once. Protect your vote. And international community is watching. Whatever happens, you have support. But you have to go out and vote. We know this election is always state managed, but you have to go and vote. It's your right, like the Constitution of Uganda says, power belongs to the people. Vote and have your voice, then wait for Plan B.
We heard about the arrest of Mr. Kiza Besigye. What is his position now? Is he going to stand as a candidate on Thursday? Or has he been released?
Yeah, he was arrested yesterday. Actually, they arrested him twice. A few of his supporters, up to now, they're still in prison.
We understand that. Well, the question is, do you know if he is still going to run as a candidate on Thursday? Has he been released or is he still under arrest?
He has been released. Like I said, he's resistant, he's got thick skin, he's fighting for his country.
So he's going to be standing on
He's going to be standing.
We had another candidate in 2011, Mr. Lubega. What's happened to Mr. Lubega? Why is he not running this time?
Mr. Lubega is still in the struggle, and this time he's running as MP for one of the constituencies in Uganda. As you know, we agreed to form a unity, so he decided to step aside to go and run for MP. And Kano Kiza Besigye is the front runner for presidential campaign.
As we had discussed last time in 2011, Museveni is still needed in that part of the world by the West. He is helping to fight Al-Shabaab in Somalia. He is helping to trace and arrest, possibly and kill Kony. What do you think the West need to do to have a change in Uganda? What can they do to help change of leadership in Uganda? In very brief statement.
I'm here in the UK. I work with international community. International community, they know exactly who Museveni is, how brutal he is. Okay. What I want international community to do is to rally behind opposition in Uganda to change the regime. Once the regime is changed, the new government will support international community, will work with the international community to push forward the agenda on security, to push forward the agenda on international development, and to work together to see that the whole region can be stable.
Mr. Semitego, we did discuss this last time in 2011. We had, for instance, the killing of Gaddafi in Libya. Do you think it is a possibility that Museveni could be taken out of power by force in the type of Gaddafi scenario?
It's unfortunate that Gaddafi was killed the way he was killed. I believe he should have been arrested and face justice. The same way, if Museveni doesn't leave power peacefully, I think he's taking the same route. But we don't want him to be killed. He has got to face international community for atrocities caused. A lot of things happened in Congo, a lot of things happened in South Sudan, in Uganda. So there is a lot of things Museveni has got to answer for. But if he leaves the power now, things can be different.
There is possibility for him to have immunity if he were to leave power peacefully. Is that what you're saying?
If Museveni leaves power today, he will be protected. He will stay in Uganda. He will be a statesman.
Okay, I understand. Now, what guarantee do you have, or can you give Museveni if he leaves power, he will live peacefully in Uganda?
I'm in that position to give him guarantee because I work with international community, one. Two, I work with opposition in Uganda. We can sit on round table and say, look, this is a gentleman who has brought the country from where it was to where it is now. He decided to step aside. Let us give him immunity.
But why can't you, for instance, have that guarantee before any presidential election? Because what is happening with most of the dictators in Africa, it is very difficult for them to leave power because they are not confident that after leaving power they are going to live peacefully. Why not start by having all the agreement to give them that guarantee that there is a life after power?
I've never had any politician in Uganda threatening Museveni that we're going to arrest him.
Well,
no. He's much aware that he's got his freedom if he wants to step aside.
There are issues there. It is more likely that Museveni, if he were to leave power, he will end up in The Hague. Are you telling me that's no longer the position of the opposition parties in Uganda, that if Museveni were to leave power peacefully, he's not going to be arrested and sent to The Hague?
Yes, I've seen that clip you showed me. That was then. People move on. In this world, it's a matter of sitting down and say, look, we are doing this for our country. We are not here to prosecute people or like President Museveni is doing, but we are here fighting to see that Uganda can have peace, can have peaceful transfer of power.
I understand, Mr. Semitego. That might be the shift of position of politicians in Uganda itself, but that might not be the case for the international community with whom Mr. Museveni will have to deal once he leaves power. What guarantee will he have, for instance, from the international community? Do you know anybody from the international community, saying the same thing as what you just suggested, that Museveni could live peacefully after leaving power?
Museveni going to international community in The Hague, it will come from Ugandans, because it will be Ugandans to give evidence, it will be Ugandans to go and testify in The Hague against Museveni. But if we sit down on the round table and say, look, let us resolve this for the good of our country, he will not be tried. But that is entirely upon him to say this is the right time to step aside to let Uganda move forward.
Thank you, Mr. Semitego. After tomorrow, Thursday, if Museveni were to win again, by whatever means, even if he were to win by rigging the elections, what will happen?
Plan B.
What is Plan B, Mr. Semitego?
I can't say now. It will be Ugandans to decide.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Semitego.
Thank you very much for having me again.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for tonight. We wait until Thursday the 18th of February 2016 to find out what will happen in Uganda.